this is Foodie Hensel. So this week I'm going to be showing you how to make a Swiss roll. The ingredients you will need are 75 grams of castor sugar, 75 grams of self-raising flour, 2 large eggs, 1 level tablespoon of cocoa powder, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of your favourite jam. You will also need 125 grams of icing sugar, 75 grams of butter and 25 grams of cocoa powder. So this is really important. You're going to preheat your oven to 200 degrees centigrade. I'm using a fan oven. You will also need a tin that measures approximately, I've got 19 centimetres there, 20 the whole tin, and then the actual is approximately 29. So basically we're talking 20 by 30 centimetre tin. Okay, my sides, the depth of my sides of my tin are approximately about 2 centimetres. So you're going to need a tin like so. The first thing that you will need to do is you're going to need 2 pieces of greaseproof paper. They're a little bit bigger than both the base and the sides. Okay, so your first one is going to be used to line your tin. So I'm just drawing around the base of my tin. And then I'm going to extend my lines. You can see I'm extending my lines, freehand drawing. And then what I'm going to do is, just to show the camera, I'm going to put a cross and a tick through every alternate line. These will be my cutting lines. So the ones with the ticks are the ones that I'm going to cut through. And when I cut through, I'm only going to cut to where the corner is, which is here, here, here and here. So just cutting through my tick lines now. And then, because you don't want your pencil actually touching your food, you're going to turn your paper over. You should be able to see your food paper. And I'm just going to go along the fold lines. All the way round. You're also going to need a tiny bit of greaseproof paper just for putting a little bit of margarine onto your tin. Okay, so this is your net of your shape for going into the tin. So you're going to get a little bit of margarine or butter, doesn't matter which, and you're going to rub your butter and your margarine around the sides of your tin, along the base of your tin. And then, as I said before, you don't want your pencil lines touching your cake, so therefore you're now going to line your tin with the pencil side underneath. If it doesn't quite fit in, it might be that you have to extend the cutting of the pencil lines in order to make it fit snugly. Sometimes you just need to give it that little bit of extra help. Okay, you can use your margarine as glue to glue these sides, or you can just tuck them neatly behind. It's entirely up to you which way you want to do that. Okay, so you can see that your tin's ready, lined, ready for putting your sponge mixture into. Okay, so the next stage is you're going to add your 75 grams of sugar and also your 2 eggs. At the moment, unless you add a filling, this is actually a healthy sponge as it contains no fat whatsoever. Okay, I'm doing this in a glass bowl so you can see the difference in volume as you whisk. Okay, now at some point I won't be talking and I will put the audio to 0 because this will be quite a noisy video else. Okay, so just to explain your whisk, it will be very similar to mine. You've got a top button, which is basically an eject button. The power's not on when you're doing that. Okay, put your blades in there. Make sure it makes a clicking sound. Okay, and then you've got a speed button. So your speed button, it starts on low and goes all the way to high. I've also got a button for blending, but I'm not going to be blending. Okay, so always start in the bowl and always make sure your hand is on the bowl. I'm going to turn the power on and you'll notice where my volume is right now. Notice that the viscosity at the moment is quite thin, however it is pale. Okay, so the viscosity will go a lot thicker as we go on. So you're going to be whisking for approximately, it's about 5 minutes in total, but luckily for you, you've got an electric whisk to do all the hard work for you. And this is going to incorporate air into the mixture. Okay, so I'm just showing you, it's starting to get air bubbles in and it's starting to get a little bit thicker. However, we want this almost double the volume. Okay, so you can see it's a lot paler. It has started to thicken. Okay, how will you know when it's done? You will know that if you pick up your blades and you cross your surface, that it will trail behind it. I think this still needs a little bit longer. Okay, so I'm going to pick the blade up, transfer it over and see if it trails. It is looking like it's starting to trail. I'm going to give one more go and then I think we'll be good to go. Okay, picking it up and it's leaving a trail all the way across. It was also, whilst I was whisking, it was also leaving trails like if you were whipping up double cream, that kind of consistency. There's also lots of air bubbles that are now starting to form at the top. So we've trapped all of that air in there, so the worst thing that we could do now is to knock it out using the electric whisk. So we're going to put the electric whisk to one side. So I'm just turning off the power, ejecting my buttons, ejecting my blades, they're going straight in the sink. wind it up, ready for the next person, providing it's clean. Okay. Okay, so the next stage is I'm going to add my 75 grams of self-raising flour that contains baking powder. So I'm just going to sprinkle that from a height. I'm also going to add my tablespoon of cocoa powder, just so you can see what I'm doing. Also tells you that it's quite a good idea to use a tablespoon of warm water. So this will help the consistency, and that will be the only water that you need. Okay, so I've got myself another tablespoon. So I'm going to go round the outside of the bowl and through the middle. This is called folding. This is so I'm not knocking my air out. So I'm doing it really slowly, around the outside, through the middle, around the outside, through the middle. Add a little bit more flour, a little bit more cocoa powder. In fact, all of the cocoa powder. Okay, again, folding round the outside of the bowl, through the middle, around the outside of the bowl, through the middle. So I'm picking up all that flour that's not mixed in and taking it through so that I don't knock any air out. Okay, again, a little bit of flour around the outside of the bowl, through the middle. So through the middle. This is my last bit of flour. You can see there's lots of cocoa powder still at the bottom of this bowl, so it's really important that I mix it in well but still continue my mission of slow and steady. You see how it's now starting to change colour. Always check the base of the bowl just to check if there's any flour still at the bottom of the bowl. That's looking not bad actually, to be fair. Okay, so the next stage is you're going to pour your mixture into your tin. Now it might almost look as if there's not enough, however it is an actual pourable mixture, so therefore you can actually pick the tin up and pour gently, slowly, gradually, reaching all the corners and the sides of your tin. You can use a spatula, which will help you. I'm afraid no licky fingers at this stage, just to do with raw egg. As tempting as it might be. Also, there won't be enough mixture if you start licking the bowl at this stage. Okay, so as I said before, if you tip your mixture to the corners and to the other corner, spread your mixture out. And then we're going to do the same for the other end. Like I say, it always looks like there's not enough. then again to the other corner. Okay, this looks like it could be a bit of an issue, so I'm just going to tuck that behind. Another opportunity. Okay, just trying to flatten it out a little bit. Now, a bit of a trick with this is to give it a shake. You can also tap it. Notice your bubbles are starting to tap out. This is a good sign because you don't want any big air pockets in your cake. Okay, so your cake is going to take approximately 7 minutes. So this is really important. You put your cake in for 7 minutes. I would suggest you get yourself ready because things happen rather quickly. So first of all, you're going to pour some excess castor sugar on your paper. This will weight it down. This is ready for when it comes out. Your jam, put into a small bowl, and I would suggest to give it a stir to give it some friction, which will loosen the jam up, heat it up slightly just by me stirring it. Some energy in there, and this makes it easier for spreading. So there's 2 to 3 tablespoons of jam in there. Because everything moves really quickly. You'll notice I've also got my cool rack out ready. So you're going to pop your Swiss roll Yule Log into your oven for 7 minutes. Do not forget to set the timer. Okay, so the next stage is you're going to look at your cake, see whether it's risen, make sure that it's not liquid. Make sure that it's looking spongy. Okay, so pressing the surface, it should rise back off your finger. Turn your oven off. Okay, so the exciting stage. Notice I've got myself a palette knife at the utensils drawer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my Swiss roll onto my sugared paper, opening out anything that's gone underneath, the grease proof, and then using your fingers very gently peel off your paper. That lovely steam coming off. Okay, and then what you're going to do is just put yourself a score mark, I would say about 2 centimeters from the edge, very, very gently, and this will help you roll your sponge, like so. Okay, so the next stage is you are going to spread your jam. This is actually the raspberry jam that I made in one of my videos. So I had a taste of it. It's quite scrummy, I have to say. Okay, use my palette knife again just to help it off. And hopefully this should spread out quite nicely. And then turn your paper so it is portrait. Okay, using your score line and your paper, fold your paper and your Swiss roll away from you. Start to pull away the paper as you're doing it, and turning the sugar will be left on the outside of the paper. So if I just open it up, you'll be able to see. Don't try to roll it when it's cold, you've got no chance, okay? So otherwise cracking will appear. Okay, so just to keep it protected, you're just going to roll it back up. Okay, I'm going to be careful here and let it cool down, not in a fridge, otherwise the temperature of your fridge will go up. And instead, just put it on, back on your Swiss roll tin to cool down. Hi, this is Phoebe Hensel and I'm going to be showing you how to make buttercream. All you're going to need is 150 grams of icing sugar and 75 grams of butter. Notice how that's actually half. Okay, so I want to make a chocolate butter icing, so therefore I'm going to use 25 grams of cocoa powder, 125 grams of icing sugar, which makes 150, and then divided by 2 comes to 75 grams of butter or margarine again. Okay, so ready to start. So to start off with, I'm going to sift my icing sugar and my cocoa powder into my mixing bowl. This is to ensure, get rid of any lumps. You can already see the lumps appearing on the top of the surface through me shaking. Those lumps, I'm not going to be throwing them away. Instead, I'm going to be squashing them through with the back of my spoon to help them through. Now it's quite helpful to have your margarine or butter out at room temperature. Otherwise you could put it in the microwave, just give it 10-20 seconds, just till it's just soft. Okay, so I've got my flour and my cocoa powder into my mixing bowl. The next stage, I'm going to add my margarine or butter into my bowl, and I'm not going to set an electric whisk on this. However, you might think it's easy, but it's not. You're going to end up looking like Castor the Ghost. And squash the margarine with the back of your spoon. And to start off with, it'll look like nothing's happening whatsoever. Okay, so keep squashing it. Now, when I was talking earlier about wet to dry ingredients, if you were to add something like a flavouring, like for example vanilla essence, even to add a few drops might make the difference between whether you end up with a smooth, a soft mixture to whether you're getting a hard mixture. And this can be quite useful or detrimental whether you're trying to actually pipe your butter icing. So if you do end up with a soft butter icing, it might be worth chilling it just to see if it will come back to the stiff mixture first before aborting it. You can see now it's just starting to soften. We'll start seeing a difference going on. I'm going to give it a quick stir. Okay, so at the minute I've got a chocolate Swiss roll made with my raspberry jam, and I've tidied the ends up just with a sharp chef's knife, so I've got the edges all nice. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using my butter icing. I'm going to be placing that on top. So you're going to spread your chocolate butter icing, now you've got it on the top, round the sides like so. Remember, it's supposed to look like a log, so therefore you'd expect to find it not only on the sides but also on the top and bottom as well. Notice how I've got it on some greaseproof paper so that it's easy to transport it onto a plate if I so need to. I've got a bit much on the top there, so I'm just dragging it down a little bit. And because it's on my tray still, I'm able to turn the tray round, get to the other side. Okay, so the next stage, to make it look realistic, you're going to use the back of your fork and you're trying to make it look like a log. So you're going to follow the line all the way down, all the way onto the underside. You can turn your tray round to get to that side. You could always decorate it with a holly leaf or something like that if it was around Christmas time. Some sparkly edible glitter maybe to make it look more festive, and then you're just following it round in a circle like so, and do the same to the other side to make it look more like a log. Okay, and there you have your log.